Hello again. Today we're going to be doing holding an open house. Holding an open house is a very effective way to meet buyers and sellers. And I really want you to be able to do that in the proper way. Just to put an open house sign up and roll out of bed and throw an open house sign up at 1 with no preparation and sit there for 3 hours praying that nobody comes because you're not prepared is not the proper way to do an open house. As we've talked before about having the spokes in different areas of this business, this is something that if you want to do as one of your spokes, you want to do it correctly. I would suggest if it's going to be your spokes, you want to do a minimum of 2 to 4, a month. 2 would be the minimum if you want to have some time off on the weekend or show buyers on a Sunday. I prefer Sunday from 1 to 4. And what you want to do is you can ask other agents in the office if you can provide the service of having an open house on a vacant property. Most agents are thrilled to have you sit the house open. I've seen agents that do it when the kids are getting out of school in an area that maybe there's a lot of traffic by there. And maybe that there might be someone looking to get into the neighborhood when they're getting out of school. There's also agents that just sit at a vacant property and do their business. They bring their computer and just sit there to try to get leads. People that are in the neighborhood that might stop by, or a lot of times when you have an open house, you have to realize that it's the owners that are in the neighborhood that are actually looking to put their house on the market. So you want to have information about on your services. You want to have information about the house, and you want to greet everybody as if they're going to be doing business with you. What I usually do is I ask them when they come in the house if they would like for me to show them the house or they would like to look at the house on their own, because not everybody likes a realtor to point out, this is the kitchen. I wouldn't say this is the kitchen, but you may point out some things in the kitchen that they may not look at, maybe opening a few cabinets if there's pull-out drawers or some unique features that you may want to point out to the buyer. You want to make sure that when you do the open house that you do it correctly, and that's advertising in the neighborhood, because your goal at doing an open house should be to let the neighbors know that this is the service you provide. So an open house to me is the small amount is to get the buyer, but the number one thing for me is to try to see if I can get another listing and parlay that into other business in the neighborhood. And how you do that is by going and taking the opportunity to talk to the neighbors while you're there. Go put out flyers around the house. If you say Monday I'm going to put out 25 to 50 flyers, and if I see anybody outside, I might knock on the doors and say I'm having this house open, give them information about the flyer, and then have information about how you sell houses, how fast you sell houses. You want to get really creative, but it's an excellent opportunity to get listings. My first listing in the business, I worked that listing down to as much as I could possibly do because I had no other business. So I actually got 3 more listings right around that listing and ended up selling all of them. I ended up selling that house myself. The house I listed across the street, I ended up selling myself. So what I did was I just said every weekend I'm having an open house, every single Sunday. And then I would go around and I would do so many around the neighborhood inviting them. And then, like I said, I got 3 other listings in that neighborhood. So it's very important. And then after you sell it, you can let them know that you've sold it. So they've seen that you've done a lot of things in that area. And it's a very easy way to get in. I have also created an amazing way to get listings from the open house, which I have them sign in, and it is outstanding. It's basically guess the final sales price. And then I offer, when I sell the property, whoever comes the closest that have come to my open house is a $100 Home Depot gift card. So I ask them their name, number, and email, and I tell them there's no obligation because on the form it asks if they're working with an agent. And then I just ask them what the house will sell for. So when they provide me that information, if they get close to the property, get close to the price, and they get it right, I give them a $100 gift certificate to Home Depot since they're most likely going to be moving. And then I ask them in there, are they working with an agent? So that will kind of make you aware if they're wide open, if they'll start working with you. And if it's yes, then please provide us a name so we can register them if you have the house open, which is another courtesy, because open houses are not protected in procuring cause. So you have to realize that. This way, if there is a procuring cause that comes down the road, you actually have the information. Plus, it's a courtesy that you've registered the people's clients, because like I said, it is not protected. So this way, if they say no on there and then another agent pops in after you have got a sheet that says no, then you have a way to stop that procuring cause. And then it asks them, would you like us to follow up if we find a hot property? So they can say yes or no. And so that's, something that people are always interested in. And if you say no, we will never call you unless you win the gift card. So we don't want to bother people, and if people aren't interested, this gives them a way to say, I am not interested. So then you can limit the leads that you have you're following up on to make sure that they're going to be good, powerful leads. And then it says, what could the seller do to improve their chances of selling? So now you have a form, not only that you have this, you have something you can give to the seller if you need to get the price adjusted or whatever. If you're holding one open for the agent, provide that as a courtesy to them for allowing you to get your business going. Do you have a home to sell before you buy? You wouldn't believe how many people have homes to sell before they buy. So this gives you the in on that question, and you'll know if you have a listing and sale from this prospect. And would you like for us to look at and give you a free market evaluation with no commitment? Basically, yes or no. So they're going to ask for no obligation market analysis, and you have the chance to say yes or no there. So if they do say yes, then that gives you a step in the door to start to go ahead and give them and meet them at their house and give them a free market evaluation, and you can tell them what they think the property's worth. And then it just basically says thank you so much. So there's a lot that went into that. I prepared that myself. That's my own thing. So never share this with anyone. This is trade secret. So here you have something that they're gonna give that information to you, and then eventually you can give that gift certificate away when the house sells to the person that does end up getting that. I also use that for broker opens. Now broker opens are great too, where you have open houses for the brokers. At those open houses, you provide food or dessert or wine. I mean, there's a lot of different ways they get done. Cheese and wine is another way they do it. But you provide sandwiches or a local Italian food or something easy to pick up. And then you invite all the brokers, local brokers, to show them your listing. These are usually done on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the area. So if you want more information about doing a broker's open, talk to me about that, and we'll get you set up where you can do that and how that works. But that's a great effective way in your marketing to usually more 99% of the time it's in a house that's more expensive. So try to keep it to your more expensive properties and let the owners know when you're there on the listing appointment that that's what you do to get business. There's also a seller's activity report in here, so if it is your listing, you can let them know exactly what's going on with that. And also servicing the listing, you really want to be in touch with your client every single week and let them know what's been going on, how many showings have you had. All of this is in the log. You should probably visit them every, I would say, month or 2 months and go over and revisit the price. If you are doing the right marketing things, it shouldn't be in your marketing. That means adding all the pictures you can get into the MLS. That means anything you can do to try to get this house sold. And we'll go through a lot of different things. You can send out just listed cards. You can do your open houses. It's in all the websites. It's already syndicated to all the websites. So you're going to have that all happening. So you really want to keep in touch with the people and let them know what the feedback is. What are the people saying when they're coming through the property? There's things that they may have to adjust, their price, terms, or condition. They may have to open up to offering FHA, VA for terms. They may have to adjust the price a little and bring it down if it's not sold. And usually a rule of thumb that we go for in a script is if you're getting a lot of showings and no offers, you usually have about a 5% price adjustment. If you're getting a lot of showings, if you're getting no showings and no action whatsoever, you're probably about a 10% price adjustment. So keep that in mind. And see me, if it's a more expensive house, it won't be quite that much, but that's usually in the lower range. But see me if you're having an issue, if your properties aren't selling, so we can revisit the price and see what the price you have on the property. And the condition too, if there's a condition you need to talk to them about, if the house isn't maintained, we do have the room-by-room review in your training manual where it goes through every room of the house and to try to get it prepared. And then after they get it prepared, you might go through. One thing I always do is have them remove everything from the refrigerator before I take the pictures in the kitchen, so it looks nice and clean and uncluttered. So make sure you're doing that. The major concerns, this kind of goes over things that are concerns of the selling from the seller, and they're going to be asking you and they're going to be complaining if you're advertising, if the house isn't being shown or it's being shown too much that we just went over. So then you want to revisit the price. What you want to do is show them all the things that you've done, show them the write-up that you have, show them the syndication on the websites. So when they see all these things are taking place, do an open house for them. You get them out where they feel like they're getting the marketing, and then they're going to want to, if there's only one reason, there's so many agents that work the area. If you have done your job right, then you need to revisit price. So you have to let them be aware of that. Marketing the listing, like I said, we have you can actually do a broker open house. We have all of the syndication of websites. We have our MLS. We have our signs. We have pretty much everything that we have at our disposal. We're worldwide. We have our worldwide MLS. Most people aren't doing a lot of book ads anymore. We do have those available, but most ads that we're doing most things we're doing are online, syndication through websites. Make sure when you go on that you can do a free Zillow account, freehomes.com, free Trulia. So you want to get all those set up. They're all free accounts. Get those set up under all those areas so you're ready to go and can link your RE/MAX site into that. Basically, going back to holding an open house, for the material that you need, you're going to be needing something about the property. Make a really nice flyer about the property. Have that available. You want to have comps in the area, other properties that have sold with prices, so you can reference that with a buyer or seller. You want to have what's active in the market, almost like a CMA, like you would bring for a seller whole presentation. You want to have other houses that are for sale. You want to know if there's another couple houses that are vacant and easy to show, that you can just close the door, put on there, I'll be back in 5 minutes, and run them over and show them one or two. You might be able to sell them another house. Or tell them that you're closing up at 4, come back over and I'll show you 2 or 3 more, or whatever you want to do there. Signage, you want to have a lot of the little signs. Try to get a lot of them, get maybe 30. That you can put all the way, because people steal them, and so don't spend a lot of money on these things. Get the really cheap directional signs, invest in that, because the more signs the better. You may want to advertise it on Zillow, on RE/MAX.com, on social media. Try to get all that. You can actually, on your RE/MAX site, you'll be learning how to broadcast it on all your social media sites so everyone will know you're doing it. So that's really important. So kind of just review some of the stuff. I think I've gone over all of these things. Previewing all the listings that are in the area in the same price range is extremely important, because then you're going to be like the neighborhood know everything person. When they come in, you're going to be like, I'm the realtor for the neighborhood. I know everything going on. And that's going to give you instant credibility with people that are buyers or sellers. So you don't want to go in there. When you go to these open houses, you're prepared. you know that if you're have an open house at a $300,000 house in Coral Springs, that you know every house that's vacant, every house you have previewed, or at least from the outside, you know where they are, you've looked at them online intensively, so you're ready to go. So you can set up and start working with these buyers immediately once they start to give you some information. I think that's pretty much everything in here. Of course, when you go to these open houses, you want to look like a 10. You want to be dressed for success. Be wearing your best clothes. So you're ready to greet people and get people to want to really start working with you. That's about it, I think. You want to just welcome them, and like I said, ask them to fill out that form. Say we have this great sheet that whoever gets closest to the price gets a $100 gift certificate, and give us a little feedback about the house. Would really appreciate it. And have them fill that out. It's very easy. I've never had one person say no. And if you do, they're not worth it to even have. But it's nice to say that we have everybody log in. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to tell you about on this chapter. Oh, there is a listing activity report in here. And what this does is basically gives all the activity on what's going on in the neighborhood. So it just gives a log of people, everyone that has actually, it gives you a log of everyone that's actually shown the house from the realtors. So, and what's been going on for that property. So if your seller complains and he says, well, I haven't been getting any showings, this is your activity log, and it shows, it's 6 pages of everything, of every showing, who's shown it, and you can put feedback in there, but it says buyer's not interested, very dark. This just shows you all the different feedback. So when a seller tries to say, my house has only been shown a few times, you can say, well, I have 6 pages of showings. I have 48 total showings. In the last 30 days, we've had 22. In the last 7 days, I've had 5. So this basically does that. It will send a link out to the agents that have shown your property. And so you'll know exactly what's going on. So that showing report will be done by our front end. So when you get a listing, what the people will do, will call to learn how to show it, and then they'll go in, and then they're going to send a link in to these agents, and they're going to be connected through the show system, so you'll know exactly where you are with the listing and try to get it reduced or whatever you need to do. What I need for you to do is, if you have any problems that listings are on the market, every 30 days, consult me, and we can maybe take a look at it. Then I have a price reduction script, which is really good. So read through that, and maybe we'll practice a little bit, at some of the training. I have a buyer contract to close. So you can get a checklist from contract to close. You can give this as a feature to as a extra service to your buyer. And then I have a seller contract to close. So you can kind of keep you on track, keep the seller on track, so everybody knows everything that's going on. And that's it. As simple as that. That just gave you a good idea about holding an open house, doing a little things for the sellers, making them feel comfortable that they've hired the right agent. Everything comes down to communication. If you come to having no communication with a client, please release them, because if you're not going to call them, let them go. Let them go with an agent that will. So as bad as it is sometimes, if you can just go over and revisit, it takes so much to get a listing. So if you haven't got it at the right price or terms, or things aren't happening, as good as you thought, remember the day that you listed it and how good things were? Go back over and revisit. Sit down, talk to the seller. Most of the time, all they want to do is have some communication. So you work so hard to get that listing, you want to work harder to sell it, because that's the only way you get paid. So make sure you keep communication open. Go back in the house. If you have any questions on a listing and how things are going, call me. We'll sit down and go, or come to training. Bring in things you're having problems with. We'll review them and then get you back out there and get that property sold for them. And then in the end, get a good recommendation. And that's another thing with Zillow. Start sending out the recommendations as you're working with people, so you can build a great client base, a great network, and a lot of recommendations. Thanks, and have a great day.